You just found something impossible. Cold cases from 20 years ago. They're vanishing from police databases. Not solved. Not closed. Completely erased. You're Keanu Reeves. Yeah, same name as the actor. But you're just a regular guy who investigates mysteries on YouTube. And what you just discovered, it's connected to your past in ways you never imagined. This changes everything. 2 months ago, you got a weird email. Anonymous sender. Subject line, they're deleting the truth. Inside, just a case number. 04-7829. At first, you ignored it. Probably spam, right? But curiosity got the better of you. You looked it up. That case number led you down a rabbit hole that's about to blow your mind. And yours too, if you're watching this. Because what I found, it affects all of us. Let me show you. Let's rewind. 2004, you're fresh out of college. 22 years old. You land a boring job at the city records department. Data entry. Filing paperwork. Scanning old documents into the new digital system. It's not exciting. But hey, it pays the bills while you figure out your real career. One night, you're working late. The office is empty. Just you and thousands of old case files. You're scanning missing persons reports from March 2004 when something catches your eye. A name. Sarah Chen, 23 years old. Disappeared March 17, 2004. Last seen leaving her job at a tech company called Meridian Solutions. The weird part, the investigation file is super thin. Like suspiciously thin. One witness statement. No follow-up reports. No detective notes. Nothing. Then you notice something clipped to the inside of the folder. A sticky note. Handwritten. Do not pursue further. Direct order. That's it. No signature. No explanation. Just stop investigating. Your gut tells you something's wrong. So you do what any curious person would do. You photocopy the file. Take it home. You're thinking maybe you'll look into it later. Figure out what happened to Sarah Chen. 2 weeks later, you get transferred. Different department. Different building. When you try to access that case file again, your credentials don't work. Access denied. Like you never had permission in the first place. You get the message. Drop it. Move on. And you do. You leave that job. Start your own private investigation business. Launch this YouTube channel. You investigate cold cases, unsolved mysteries, weird phenomena. But you never forget Sarah Chen. Fast forward to 2 months ago. That anonymous email. Case 04-7829. You dig through your old boxes and find that photocopy from 2004. Sarah Chen. You still have it after all these years. You decide to look her up in the current police database. You have connections. Friends in law enforcement who share access for your investigations. You search for case 04-7829. It's gone. Completely deleted. Like Sarah Chen never existed. But here's where it gets crazy. You start digging deeper. Searching for other cases from that same time period. And you find a pattern. 18 missing persons cases. All from 2004. All originally investigated, but then suddenly closed with no explanation. And all of them? Deleted from the system in the last 6 months. 18 people. 18 families still waiting for answers. All erased. You make some calls. Reach out to retired detectives. Former cops. Anyone who might remember. Most people won't talk. They hang up the second you mention 2004. But one guy agrees to meet you. Detective Marcus Reed. Retired in 2008. He suggests a quiet diner outside the city. Early morning. When you sit down, he looks nervous. Keeps glancing at the door. You're digging into something dangerous, he says quietly. Those cases were shut down from above. Way above my level. We were told it was classified. National security. Don't ask questions. But why, you press? What could 18 missing persons cases have to do with national security? Reed slides a manila envelope across the table. I kept my own notes. Personal documentation. Because it didn't sit right with me. What we were ordered to ignore. He stands up. I never saw you. This conversation never happened. And kid, be careful. People who ask too many questions, sometimes they become cases too. He walks out, leaves you sitting there with an envelope that's about to change everything. Inside the envelope, photocopies of Detective Reed's personal investigation notes. The stuff he documented on his own time after being ordered to stop. And here's the connection he found. All 18 victims worked at or recently visited the same place. Meridian Tech Solutions. a software company that operated from 2003 to 2006. Then it suddenly shut down, dissolved completely. No bankruptcy, no sale, just gone. Your heart starts racing because you recognize that name. Meridian Tech Solutions. You worked there. Summer of 2004. Part-time IT support while you were doing the records job. It was your side gig for extra cash. Suddenly, memories start flooding back. The weird office culture. Programmers who never talked about their projects. Managers who looked stressed all the time. The armed security for a small software company. You thought it was odd back then, but didn't think much of it. And Sarah Chen. You remember her now. She worked customer service. Desk near yours. She was always friendly. Brought homemade cookies once. You talked about music and movies during lunch breaks. You remember the last conversation you had with her. She seemed worried, distracted. She asked you a strange question. If you knew something bad was happening but speaking up could put you in danger, what would you do? You laughed it off. Told her she'd been watching too many thriller movies. She didn't laugh. Just nodded and went back to work. A week later, she was gone. Her desk was empty. You asked your supervisor about it. He said she quit. Moved away suddenly. Family emergency. You never questioned it. Why would you? People quit jobs all the time. But now you're wondering if Sarah Chen ever made it home that night. You need to know what Meridian Tech was really doing. You search corporate records. The company was registered under 3 different shell corporations, all connected to one investor, a venture capital firm called Obsidian Holdings. You dig into Obsidian Holdings. They funded 11 tech startups between 2002 and 2007. 8 of them shut down suddenly. No warning. No financial trouble. Just closed. And here's the pattern. Each company had employees who went missing. Each one had cases that went cold. The locations? Seattle, Denver, Portland, Boston, Phoenix, Atlanta, your city, all across the country. You find an old Reddit thread from 5 years ago, posted by someone claiming to be a former Meridian employee. The account is deleted. The post is deleted. But you know how to access cached versions of deleted content. The post says, "We thought we were building security software. Facial recognition. Standard stuff. But the beta testing, they were tracking real people. Without consent. Without warrants. I tried to quit. They made it clear that wasn't an option. 3 coworkers who complained? They disappeared. Just stopped showing up. HR said they resigned. I got scared. I left quietly. Moved states. Changed careers. If you worked at Meridian and you're reading this, you know what I'm talking about." 4 replies before the thread was deleted. All saying the same thing. I was there too. I was scared. I ran. You tracked down one of those usernames through cross-referencing. A woman named Jennifer Moss. Lives in Oregon now. Works as a graphic designer. Completely different life. You send her a message explaining who you are. What you're investigating. You don't expect a response. She calls you within 2 hours. "I've been waiting," she says. Her voice is shaking. For someone to finally ask. For someone to care. Because what happened there, people need to know. Jennifer worked at the Denver location. Same year. 2004. She was a software engineer. Talented. Idealistic. She thought she was building something good. The project was called Sentinel, she explains. They told us it was predictive crime prevention. Using AI to identify patterns. Prevent bad things before they happened. Sounded noble, right? Protect communities. Save lives. What was it really, you ask? A surveillance nightmare. It wasn't just watching. It was profiling. The system would flag people as potential threats based on their behavior. Where they went. Who they talked to. What they researched online. And when someone got flagged as high risk, they'd be monitored. Followed. And if they became too much of a problem, they'd disappear. Your stomach drops. Who decided who was a problem? That's the thing. We never knew. The orders came from above. Way above. We just built the software. Other people used it. Jennifer sends you encrypted files. Code repositories. Design documents. Everything she saved before quitting. I've been holding on to these for 20 years. Waiting for the right moment. This is it. You spend days analyzing the files with help from tech experts you trust. What you find is terrifying. This wasn't just surveillance software. It was a complete tracking and targeting system. Sophisticated AI. Real-time monitoring. Integrated with cameras, phones, databases. And it was deployed, actually used. From 2003 to 2006, the system tracked over 50,000 people across 10 cities. 812 were flagged as high-priority threats. You cross-reference those dates and locations with missing persons databases. Your hands shake as you see the correlation. 73 people who were flagged, they disappeared, within days or weeks of being marked in the system. Sarah Chen was flagged March 15, 2004. She disappeared March 17, 2004. You have to check. You search the database logs for your own name. And there it is. March 20th, 2004. Your name. Flagged yellow. Medium risk. Notes. Employee accessed restricted case file. Copied documents. Potential information leak. Monitor and contain. They knew. They knew you'd seen Sarah's missing persons report. That's why you were transferred so quickly. Why your access was revoked. You weren't fired because you were yellow, not red. A warning level. Not an elimination target. But you could have been. If you'd pushed harder. Asked more questions. Told someone what you found. You would have turned red. You would have been number 74. That realization hits you hard. You spend that night thinking about Sarah. About the question she asked you. If you knew something bad was happening, but speaking up could put you in danger, what would you do? She knew. She'd discovered what Meridian was really doing. She was going to speak up. That's why she was flagged. That's why she disappeared. And you? You laughed it off. Told her she was being paranoid. You didn't help her. Didn't listen. Didn't take her seriously. For 20 years, you've had this nagging guilt you couldn't explain. Nightmares. A feeling that you forgot something important. Now you know why. Part of you always knew you should have helped Sarah. Should have listened. This isn't just an investigation anymore. This is you making things right. Too late for Sarah. Too late for the others. But not too late for the truth. Yesterday, you got another anonymous email. Same sender as before. It says, you're close, but you're missing the biggest piece. Meridian and the others? They were just contractors. Someone hired them. Someone powerful. Someone who's still operating. Check Obsidian Holdings' ownership records. Follow the money. And Keanu? Be careful. You just turned red. You investigate Obsidian Holdings. The ownership is buried under layers of shell companies. 7 levels deep. But you keep digging. And at the very top? A name that makes your blood run cold. A name you recognize. Someone currently in power. Making headlines. Influencing policy. Someone with access to everything. You're not saying who yet. Because you need absolute proof. The kind that can't be dismissed or buried. And you're getting it. Trust me. Part 2 of this investigation drops in 3 days. And what I reveal, it's going to shock you. Names. Documents. Evidence. The whole truth about who's really behind this. But here's where I need your help. Share this video. Download it. Back it up. Because I don't know how long it'll stay up. I don't know what happens when I release part 2. But I'm not stopping. Not this time. If something happens to me. If this channel goes dark. If I disappear. You'll know why. And you'll know this is real. The files are ready. The evidence is secured. Multiple locations. Dead man switches. If I don't check in, everything goes public automatically. To whoever's watching from Obsidian. From the top. I know who you are. And soon, everyone else will too. Part 2. 3 days. The truth comes out. All of it. Stay curious. Question everything. And remember Sarah Chen. Remember all 73 of them. If you're just joining us, here's what you missed. 18 cold cases from 2004. All erased from police databases. All connected to a tech company called Meridian Solutions. A company that built surveillance software. Software that flagged people as threats. 73 of those people disappeared. Including Sarah Chen. Someone I knew. Someone I could have helped but didn't. 3 days ago, I told you I found who's really behind this. Someone powerful. Someone still operating. Today, I'm revealing everything. After posting part 1, things got weird. Fast. My apartment was broken into. Nothing stolen. But everything was moved. Searched. Someone went through my stuff. Professional. Careful. Sending a message. My car was followed. Different vehicles. Always keeping distance. I'm not paranoid. I've done enough investigations to know when I'm being watched. But here's the thing. I expected this. Prepared for it. The files? They're not in my apartment. They're in multiple secure locations. cloud storage with automatic releases, safe deposit boxes in 3 different states, law offices, journalist contacts. If anything happens to me, everything goes public automatically. You can't stop what's already in motion. So I kept digging. Obsidian Holdings. 7 layers of shell companies. I traced every single one. Corporate filings, tax records, investor documents. It took 3 days of barely sleeping. But I found it. The ultimate owner of Obsidian Holdings. The person who funded Meridian Tech and 10 other surveillance companies. The person who's been using this technology for 20 years. His name is Richard Blackwell. If that name sounds familiar, it should. Richard Blackwell is a tech billionaire. Founded Blackwell Industries in 1998. Started with software. Expanded into defense contracts. Government systems. Private security. He's worth an estimated $40 billion. He's testified before Congress. Advised 3 different presidents. He's on the boards of major companies. Universities. Charities. He's respected. Powerful. Connected. And according to the documents I found, he's been running an illegal surveillance operation for over 20 years. Here's how it worked. Blackwell would fund small tech startups through Obsidian Holdings. Companies like Meridian. Each company would develop surveillance technology. Test it in different cities. Different populations. They'd collect data. Refine the systems. And when the technology was perfected, the companies would shut down. Dissolve. All evidence erased. But the technology? That got absorbed into Blackwell Industries. Integrated into his legitimate products. Security systems. Smart city infrastructure. Government contracts. All built on illegal surveillance programs that cost 73 people their lives. I have the financial records. Money transfers. Investor agreements. Internal emails. Everything that connects Blackwell to Meridian and the other companies. But I needed more. I needed someone from the inside. Someone who worked directly with Blackwell. Someone who could confirm this wasn't just financial connections, but direct involvement. I found that person. His name is Dr. Alan Cross. He was the head of technology development at Meridian Solutions. He designed the Sentinel system, the software that flagged Sarah Chen and 72 others. I tracked him down in Connecticut. He's retired now. Lives quietly. I showed up at his door with a camera and questions. At first, he tried to close the door. Told me to leave. But when I mentioned Sarah Chen's name, he stopped. His face went pale. I've been waiting for this conversation, he said quietly. For 20 years. We talked for 4 hours. I recorded everything. With his permission, Dr. Cross explained that Meridian was never a real company. It was a front, a testing ground for Blackwell's surveillance technology. We were told we were building security systems, protecting people, but the real goal was control. Richard Blackwell wanted to know everything about everyone. Track dissent. Identify threats before they became problems. What kind of threats? I asked. Anyone who might expose him. Journalists. Activists. Whistleblowers. Even his own employees who questioned the ethics. The system would flag them. And Blackwell had people who would handle it. Handle it how? Dr. Cross looked at me. Tears in his eyes. I don't know exactly. I wasn't in that part of the operation. But people would be flagged red. High priority. And within days, they'd disappear. Missing persons reports would be filed. Investigations would start but then suddenly stop. Orders from above. Sarah Chen was flagged red, I said. I know. I remember her. She was smart. Figured out what we were really doing. She copied files. Was going to take them to the authorities. I tried to warn her. Told her to just quit quietly. But she said people deserved to know the truth. He paused. I should have done more. Should have helped her. Instead, I kept my head down. Kept my job. Took my paycheck. And she disappeared. Do you know what happened to her? No. But I can guess. Blackwell had contractors. Ex-military. Ex-intelligence. People who made problems disappear. Permanently. Dr. Cross gave me everything. Hard drives with source code. Design documents. Internal communications. Lists of flagged individuals. Everything he'd kept hidden for 20 years. Why now? I asked him. Because I'm dying. Cancer. 6 months maybe. And I can't die knowing I helped build this. Knowing people died because of my work. If exposing Blackwell is the last thing I do, at least I'll die with some redemption. I took the files. Spent the next week analyzing them with a team of experts. Programmers, data analysts, investigative journalists. What we found was damning. The Sentinel system wasn't just used from 2003 to 2006. It's still active. Blackwell integrated it into his current products. Smart city systems in 37 cities worldwide. Government surveillance contracts in 12 countries. Private security systems in thousands of buildings. Right now, as you're watching this, that technology is tracking millions of people, monitoring their movements, their communications, their behavior, and flagging anyone who might be a problem. We found the current database. Over 2 million people flagged. Yellow, orange, and red. Most of them don't even know they're being watched. And the red flags? 347 people currently marked for priority intervention. Whatever that means. I knew I had to go public. But I also knew what happened to people who threatened Blackwell. 73 people disappeared. I didn't want to be number 74. So I got smart. I contacted 5 major news organizations. Gave them all copies of the evidence. I contacted the FBI, Department of Justice, congressional oversight committees. I made sure dozens of people had this information simultaneously. Too many to silence all at once. And I'm releasing it here. To you. Right now. Everything is linked in the description. The documents. The code. The evidence. Download it. Share it. Make copies. Make sure this can't be buried. 3 hours after I sent the evidence to the news organizations, my lawyer received a cease and desist letter from Richard Blackwell's legal team, threatening lawsuits, claiming defamation, demanding I retract everything and hand over all materials. 2 hours after that, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Mr. Reeves. A man's voice. Calm. Professional. My name is Richard Blackwell. I think we should talk. I recorded the call. Of course I did. Here's what Blackwell said. You've been very thorough. Impressive work. But you're missing context. The people who were flagged? They weren't innocent. They were legitimate threats. Terrorists. Criminals. People who would have hurt others. We prevented attacks. Saved lives. Yes, the methods were unconventional. But the results speak for themselves. Sarah Chen wasn't a terrorist, I said. She was a customer service rep who figured out what you were doing. Sarah Chen was going to expose classified national security operations. Operations that protected millions of people. Sometimes difficult decisions have to be made for the greater good. You had her killed. Silence. Then, I didn't personally harm anyone. I provided technology. What others chose to do with it isn't my responsibility. You're hiding behind plausible deniability. I'm operating within legal gray areas to protect this country. Something you clearly don't understand. But here's what I do understand. You're about to destroy 20 years of critical security infrastructure. Infrastructure that prevents terrorism, stops crime, keeps people safe. And for what? Justice for 73 people who were acceptable losses in a much bigger picture. Acceptable losses? They were people. They had families, lives, dreams. And because of the work we do, millions of other people still have theirs. You release this information, and you'll compromise ongoing operations. People will die. And that blood will be on your hands. I stayed quiet. Let him talk. Because I knew he was recording this too. Building his defense. I'm offering you a choice, Blackwell continued. Work with me. I'll give you a position. Oversight. Make sure the technology is used ethically going forward. You'll have influence. Resources. The ability to actually make a difference. Or release this and become responsible for every terrorist attack that succeeds because you destroyed our surveillance capabilities. I'm not working with you. Then you're making a mistake. One you'll regret. He hung up. That was 2 days ago. Since then, everything changed. Fast. The news broke yesterday. Front page. Every major outlet. Billionaire tech CEO linked to illegal surveillance program. Congressional hearings announced. FBI raids on Blackwell Industries offices. International investigations launched. Blackwell's lawyers are claiming everything was legal. National security operations. Government approved. But the documents tell a different story. No oversight. No warrants. No legal authority. Just a billionaire playing God with other people's lives. The stock market reacted. Blackwell Industries dropped 40% in one day. Government contracts suspended. Criminal charges being considered. And the 73 cases? They're being reopened. All of them. Families are finally getting answers. Sarah Chen's family released a statement thanking everyone who refused to let her case stay buried. As for me, I'm okay. Safe. Surrounded by lawyers and security. Because Blackwell was right about one thing. This is dangerous. Powerful people don't like being exposed. But you know what? It was worth it. Because the truth matters. Justice matters. Sarah Chen matters. All 73 of them matter. Dr. Alan Cross passed away last week. But before he died, he recorded a video testimony. Confessing everything. Confirming Blackwell's direct involvement. It's been submitted as evidence. It'll be shown at the hearings. This investigation started with an anonymous email. One case number. And it exposed a 20-year conspiracy that affected millions of people. It proved that one person asking questions can make a difference. So here's what I want you to take away from this. Question authority. Demand transparency. Don't accept classified or national security as excuses for illegal behavior. And if you see something wrong, speak up. Even if it's scary. Even if it's risky. Because silence enables evil. Sarah Chen tried to speak up. She paid with her life. But her courage inspired this investigation. And now, finally, she gets justice. To everyone who shared Part 1. Who downloaded the evidence. Who spread the word. Thank you. You made this possible. You ensured this couldn't be buried. The fight isn't over. Blackwell has resources. Lawyers. Political connections. This will take years to fully resolve. But the truth is out. And that's what matters. I'm going to keep investigating. Keep asking questions. Keep exposing the truth. Because that's what we do here. That's what this channel is about. If you want to support this work, subscribe. Share these videos. And stay curious. The world is full of mysteries. Some beautiful. Some terrifying. All worth exploring. This is Keanu Reeves. And I'll see you in the next investigation. Stay safe. Stay curious. And never stop asking questions.